Parkersburg City Council last night voted to approve the city clerk's decision to certify a referendum petition on the city's trash contract as insufficient. Our Chase Campbell was at that meeting.
Parkersburg City Council voted 5-4 on Tuesday to agree with City Clerk Connie Schaefer's determination that a referendum petition to put the city's 5-year contract with waste management before voters was insufficient. Council members McCready, Cool, Brown, Reynolds, and Moore voted yes, with Council members Tuck, Huffman, Rexroad, and Borkowski voting no. Schaefer's finding that the petition was insufficient was based on an opinion from City Attorney C. Blaine Myers, who argued that the waste management contract involves the appropriation of funds, a category exempt from referendum under the city charter. Attorney Aubrey Sparks of the ACLU addressed the council via phone during the meeting, arguing that a judge will likely rule in favor of the petitioners and that the legal fight could prove costly for the city. Citing case law, Sparks said that whether the referendum is valid should be decided by a judge rather than city officials, and said that the waste management contract ordinance concerned the expenditure of money by the executive branch rather than the appropriation of money by the legislative.
It always ends up, whether you look procedurally, substantively, or as a matter of practical outcomes, it's always ends up the same, that the city council will certify the petition as sufficient.
Myers rebutted that argument, reaffirming his belief that the contract is exempt from referendum.
I'd like to look at it as some common sense. To say that a $14 to $15 million 5-year contract does not relate to appropriation of money, I don't think it's a reasonable conclusion.
The petition committee has already challenged the clerk's certification in court, with Sparks as counsel. The case is pending before Wood County Circuit Court Judge J.D. Bean. Prior to the vote, numerous residents spoke in favor of the petition and criticized council and the administration during public forum.
Listening to residents should have never been an optional. Listening to employees should never be optional. And when 1,000 people sign petitions, attend meetings, make phone calls, and speak out, their concerns deserve more than a brief acknowledgement.
It's becoming increasingly more apparent that public participation is encouraged only when it produces the desired outcome. At some point, when thousands of residents are telling you the same thing, leadership requires more than explaining why everyone else is wrong.
This is your chance. You can vote for sufficiency, and that will speed up the process. It will save the city money that they're paying very expensive out-of-town attorneys to fight this, okay? You can vote for sufficiency, and let's get this over with. Let's let the people vote.
Also during public forum, Parkersburg resident Crystal Butcher, the executive director of a group home, asked about the issue of additional trash cans. The month-to-month emergency contract with waste management the city entered into pending the outcome of the referendum litigation only provides 1 cart per household, which Butcher said was insufficient for the home's needs.
How are we going to make it happen so that we are able to have the necessary equipment to put our trash in if you are to pass this?
During his message from the executive, Mayor Tom Joyce responded, saying it's an issue he's working on and noting that the contract does allow residents to leave out additional trash bags through July.
We're working on that. Keep in mind that for the entire month of July, they'll take the extra trash, so just be mindful of that. But we are working on an opportunity, a solution.
Joyce also responded to criticism that the city failed to address the labor shortage in the sanitation department that contributed to the decision to seek a private hauler in the first place. The mayor delivered a history of the city's attempts to staff the department, including a proposed 5% pay raise that his office proposed, but which was rejected by City Council in 2024.
Folks say you knew about this for years and you did nothing. Obviously, maybe we didn't do enough, but to say that we did nothing, we tried nothing, is, quite frankly, paddling.
In other business, council voted to approve a resolution to provide $15,000 in opioid settlement funds to the River City Runners Club and filed the 2 emergency contracts the city entered with waste management and the certificate of votes cast on the transit levy in the May primary election. In Parkersburg, Chase Campbell, WTAP News.